Good evening, you're watching the news. A quick look at the headlines. All above 45 years of age can get vaccinated now. As the second wave worsens, the government is opening up jabs for more people. The average daily case is almost 40,000. That's up 68% in just a week. Schools and colleges closed in Telangana and Punjab, and SOS from the government. About 81% of 401 samples end up being the UK mutant strain, which is 70% more transmissible. There are now 400 new cases of foreign variants in just 5 days in India. And now after Maharashtra, Gujarat records a record number of daily cases. Does India really care about the COVID nightmare? Thousands attend a Mathura Holi event. The UP government says no processions without permissions. Children under 10 and those above 60 cannot attend gatherings. In Patna, the police clash with MLAs inside the assembly, a clash after protests over a police ordinance. The BJP's Assam election manifesto is silent on the Citizenship Amendment Act, though it remains a top poll promise in Bengal. Serious allegations outweigh old age and alleged sickness. A judge rules on why 83-year-old Stan Swami's bail plea has been rejected. At least 5 are dead in a major Naxal attack in Chhattisgarh. At a time when there are clear signs for a first time of a massive surge in the UK mutant strain of COVID in Punjab, the government has come out with an announcement which many felt could not have come a day later. All citizens above the age of 45 will now get the COVID vaccine.
So from 1st of April, anybody who is over 45 age will get vaccination even though he has no comorbidities. उसके लिए उसे अब कोई दाखिला लाने की सर्टिफिकेट लाने की जरूरत नहीं है.
All those above 45 years old are now eligible for COVID vaccinations from the 1st of April. Chief ministers and corporate leaders have been pressing for this, given the rising second wave of infections and the sputtering economy.
आज निर्णय ये हुआ है. आपका सुझाव हमने सुना है.
सेफ तो महसूस हो गई. इतना ज़्यादा वर्ल्ड वाइज चल रहा है, ट्रैवलिंग की भी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं और अगर ये लग जाता है तो ट्रैवलिंग भी इजी हो जाएगी.
मेरे हिसाब से तो सबको वैक्सीनेशन लगनी चाहिए. तो हमारी बारी आएगी तो हम भी लेंगे. भले ही हम लोग ऑलरेडी अगर कोविड से हम लोग कर चुके हैं, निकल चुके हैं इस चीज से, बट जब टाइम आएगा हमें मिलेगा वो फिर तो हम तक.
The move to open up vaccinations to those above 60 and some even younger, as well as letting more hospitals open vaccination centers, has resulted in a welcome spike in beneficiaries. In fact, more of the public have been vaccinated in 23 days than health and frontline workers in 65 days. But this may not be enough. Punjab's chief minister says 81% of 401 samples turned out to be the UK variant. The state has seen a massive surge in cases. Some experts say mutant strains are also likely to be behind Maharashtra's second wave. The state has been seeing a record number of cases. There are 795 total cases of UK, South Africa and Brazil variant in India. There have been 395 new cases in the last 5 days alone, out of which 326 are in Punjab.
So the basic characteristic of the UK variant, what we call as N501Y or B117, is that it spreads faster. So ever since it has emerged, people have found out that its R number is higher. That means it's actually spreading faster.
India ranks third globally in terms of total vaccinations. But in terms of vaccinations per 100 people, it is behind many countries like UAE, US, UK and Brazil. Today's decision is expected to boost India's vaccination pace. In New Delhi with camera person Ashwini Mehra, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Well, it's a very important day in the fight against COVID, with the government finally accepting the recommendation made by so many experts that more people need to start being vaccinated. Why is this such a concern now? What do we know about the mutant strain? Let me try and bring you a few details and explain to you why the situation just now is really, really bad. We're not exaggerating. The numbers really do tell a story. So firstly, the positivity rate is at 3.9%, which is the highest since November. It was only after November that there was a sharp decline in cases, and we felt that India may be winning the battle against COVID. But this positivity rate of 3.9% is an indicator that things are pretty bad, back being bad once again. And perhaps the biggest concern is, why is it happening so fast? So where are we right now? At 40,715 cases, we are down 13% on a day-to-day basis, right, over the last couple of days in 24 hours, right? But that by itself is still a huge number, firstly. Secondly, the R factor is 1.33, which is a rise for the 14th straight day and the highest since April. What is the R factor? This is the factor, or which R stands for the rate at which the virus multiplies or reproduces, and anything above 1 indicates that the virus is winning, that it's growing. If India wants to win the battle, then this has to be less than 1, and it needs to progressively keep going down. That was the case until just a few days back. There's been a huge surge in cases in a very fast period of time, and that is what we'll be looking at as well. So before I come to that and explain what's happening, and that really has to do with mutant strains, the average number of daily cases has risen to almost 40%, up 68% in a week. What has changed between what was happening earlier on? And let's face it, COVID discipline has never been a priority in this country for most people. That being the case, why were we winning the fight against COVID, or seeming to win the fight against COVID, but then in the last 1 week, how has there been an 68% rise in these COVID cases? In fact, it's more than 1 week. So let's just show you, for example, how this rise has been really, really big and dramatic. The Punjab Chief Minister has said that 81% of 400 samples which were taken and sent for gene sampling have turned up to be the UK variant. I'll talk about the UK variant in a moment, but just look at where Punjab was, let us say between August and September. This was a peak. It seemed to be getting terrible at that stage, but then after September, there was a dramatic decline, and that was good news. By December, a small sort of peak over here, but after that it kept going down, and then between December and January it was more or less steady. But as you can see, after, let's say, the 24th or 25th of January, let's say February, what you see over here is this incredible sharp peak in Punjab right now, and that is because we now know as a fact that there is 81% of the 400 samples which have been taken show the UK variant. This UK variant is much more transmissible, and that presents a huge, huge problem. So that's as far as Punjab goes. But let me see if I can bring you a few more details over here. Sorry, this has just become a bit crooked. Try and fix that later on. But if we are to look at the number of cases in Gujarat as well, again, it's hit a record high over here. It was coming down sharply, but as you can see over here, that number has actually gone up over here, hitting that record high, and that's a cause of huge concern as well. So there you have it, a look at some of the big concerns as far as COVID is concerned in this country. Now, despite the surge in the mutant strain and the overall numbers, devotees continue to throng to festivals with zero mask use. The big question, in fact, and it is stating the obvious, these could all turn out to be super spreader events, the last thing anyone wants.
Two days, two massive holy gatherings in UP's Mathura with zero COVID protocols, no masks, no social distancing.
सबसे अच्छी बात क्या है, यहाँ पे कोई भेदभाव नहीं है। कोरोना की अगर बात करी जाए तो क्या आप लोगों को लगता है कोई कोरोना है? किशोरी जी यहाँ पर है, कोई कोरोना नहीं है।
तो मेरा ये मानना है, मेरा सभी लोगों से ये अनुरोध है कि अभी कोविड ख़त्म नहीं हुआ है। अभी कोविड किसी भी स्थिति में सेकेंड वेव आ सकती है कोविड की, और कोविड शुरू हो चुका है। तो जो भी लोग मथुरा में आएँ, श्रद्धालु जो भी आ रहे हैं, वो मास्क लगा के आएँ, भीड़ भाड़ वाले एरिया में ना घुसें।
Uttar Pradesh's daily COVID cases have risen fast in the last 10 days. From 167 fresh cases on March 12, a positivity rate of 0.18% to 542 new ones on March 22. a positivity rate of 0.40%. And with Holi just days away, the government is worried. This afternoon, Uttar Pradesh's Chief Secretary wrote to field officers over rising COVID cases. The letter said that no processions or gatherings would be allowed without prior permission. Those above 60 or below 10 years of age will not be allowed in gatherings, the government has said. The government has also ordered COVID tests for those coming to UP from surged states. But implementing this on the ground will be a big challenge. With Saurabh Gautam in Mathura, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Well, several states have now announced curbs, several cities as well. In Uttar Pradesh, there are no gatherings which will be allowed without permissions. Over 60s and those under the age of 10 cannot attend gatherings. The question is, who's going to enforce this? In UP, a negative test must be there for those coming into the state from certain states. In Madhya Pradesh, there's a siren which is going to be sounded at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. People need to pledge to follow several norms. In Karnataka, Punjab, Chandigarh, tests, arrivals need to be RT-PCR negative. In Karnataka, Maharashtra, Kerala arrivals need a negative RT-PCR test. In Maharashtra, there's going to be a night curfew between the 24th to the 31st of March in Parbhani. In Telangana, more intensive border surveillance is taking place. In Telangana, the screening of arrivals also from Maharashtra, Karnataka and Chhattisgarh taking place. After the Sachin Waze episode, Devendra Fadnavis, the former chief minister and BJP leader, he is the leader of the opposition, is targeting the Maharashtra government over what he describes as malpractices and bribes in IPS transfers in the state. The Maharashtra government says Fadnavis is relying on a report full of false statements and illegal phone tapping in his attempt to destabilize and defame the Maharashtra government.
Devendra Fadnavis taking his battle against the Maharashtra government to Delhi.
इतने बड़े महाराष्ट्र ऐसे बड़े प्रदेश में आईपीएस और बड़े पुलिस पदाधिकारियों के ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग में सीधा वसूली हो रही है. Extortion is being done.
Alleging foul play and bribes for transfers of senior police officials in the state. Fadnavis says the Chief Minister of Maharashtra did not act. Fadnavis met the Union Home Secretary demanding the centre's intervention and probe by a central agency. Fadnavis bases his claims on a report by the state's former head of intelligence Rashmi Shukla, who is now on central deputation, which says there are recorded conversations that point to malpractice.
6.3 GB का ये डेटा मेरे पास है कि जिसके अंदर ये सारे कॉल्स इंटरसेप्ट किए हुए और ये एक पूरा रिपोर्ट इसका जो है, मतलब ये कवरिंग लेटर है और कवरिंग लेटर के साथ ये पूरे ट्रांसक्रिप्ट रिपोर्ट के साथ माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी को भेजे गए और उसके बाद इसके ऊपर कार्रवाई होना दूर, कार्रवाई किस पर हुई? कार्रवाई हुई कमिश्नर इंटेलिजेंस पे.
The NCP hit back immediately, saying that 80% of the transfers that were mentioned by Shukla in her report did not happen and the officers did not get the postings she mentioned in that report.
Illegal phone tapping करने का काम वे करती थी, उसी के आधार पे निराधार रिपोर्ट उन्होंने तैयार की. लेकिन जब महाराष्ट्र में महाराष्ट्र विकास आघाड़ी की सरकार बन रही थी तो रश्मि शुक्ला इलीगली सारे नेताओं के फोन टैप कर रही थी.
चाहे कोई भी कुछ भी कहे, कुछ भी बोले, कोई भी आरोप करे, महाराष्ट्र की महाविकास आघाड़ी की सरकार का बाल भी बाका नहीं होगा.
Meanwhile, the Maharashtra Anti-Terror Squad claims it has cracked the Mansukh Hiren murder case and will be asking for the main suspect Sachin Waze's custody in spite of the case being handed over to the NIA.
The Maharashtra government has made it clear that it's not going to give in to the BJP and adds that Devendra Fadnavis, in his attempt to topple the government, is defaming the state. But this saga of allegations and counter-allegations is likely to continue for a while as both sides are digging in their heels. In Mumbai, with camera person Rajendra Dhalkar, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
In Bengal, ahead of the assembly elections, the BJP has announced its last list of candidates. Surprisingly, the name of the Bollywood superstar Mithun Chakrabarti is missing. He was supposed to be a star candidate Replacing him, Lieutenant General Subroto Saha, one of the most distinguished generals the army has produced in years.
Twin BJP big guns are back in Bengal. Amit Shah and JP Nadda launching a pincer attack on Mamata Banerjee. But the two-term chief minister, gunning for a third, returned punch for punch.
और दीदी ने गत चुनाव में अपने घोषणा पत्र में 282 वादे किए थे, उसमें से 82 भी पूरे नहीं कर दी। अरे दीदी हिसाब लेकर आओ, हिसाब लेकर आओ।
আমি এক পা দিয়ে যা শট মারতে পারি না, ওদের পুরো মাঠ থেকে ফাঁকা করে ছেড়ে দেব।
2 days left for campaigning for Phase 1 polls. 30 crucial seats in Jungle Mahal are up for grabs. In 2016 assembly polls, the TMC won 26 out of those 30. But in 2019, that changed dramatically. BJP raced ahead in 20 assembly segments and TMC in just 10. Will the BJP be able to retain the edge it got in 2019, or has the Trinamool made a speedy recovery? Meanwhile, Dada is missing from what may be BJP's last list of candidates. At the Rash Bihari seat, which many thought was reserved for him, BJP has fielded a retired army general. Is Mithun Chakravarti then out of the race, or is he poised to strike when the iron, proverbially, is hot?
আমি একটা কোবরা।
Mithun may begin campaigning for BJP next week at Nandigram for Shubhendu Adhikari, at the same time that Mamata Banerjee will hold her penultimate road shows in the constituency she has chosen to fight from. With GT Shankar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
News now from poll-bound Assam, where the BJP today released its manifesto, where it gave Assam 10 resolutions, from flood-free Assam to a corrected national register for citizens. But they did remain silent on the citizenship law, which the party claims to implement in its first cabinet meeting if it comes to power, but in neighbouring Bengal.
The BJP's manifestos for Assam and Bengal lay bare the party's dual stand on the controversial Citizenship Act amendment, which makes religion a basis for giving citizenship. In Bengal, it promises to implement this in its first cabinet meeting if it wins. But today in Assam, its manifesto had no mention of it. Vocal about the Citizenship Act in Bengal and remaining silent about it in Assam seems to be a BJP poll strategy. More so at the time when the Congress has made it its main poll plank, saying that it is going to roll back the Citizenship Act in Assam through a state legislation if it is voted to power. But the BJP questions that how it is possible given the fact that the CAA is a central law.
This law is a central legislation. By voting in Assam, a state legislation cannot change the central legislation. It is under process. We stand committed.
In Assam, many people feel Citizenship Amendment Act dilutes the Assam Accord, which has 1971 as the cutoff year for deportation of illegal migrants, irrespective of religion. The CAA will allow citizenship for non-Muslim refugees, which is why there were protests.
But post-COVID, people do not want to hear certain things which bring back agitation into the street. Committed to CAA, what is wrong in that?
As top leaders were playing down CAA in Assam, in Bengal, Amit Shah reiterated their commitment to implementing it.
हम सीए को लागू कर सभी शरणार्थियों को नागरिकता देने का काम ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की।
Mamata Banerjee, fighting for a third term as CM, and the Congress hit out at the BJP.
আপনাদের ভাই বোনেরা যারা বাইরে আছেন তাদের ভোটটা দিতে আসতে বলবেন। তা নালে ভোটার লিস্টে নাম না থাকলে আসামে দেখেছেন বিজেপি 14 লক্ষ লোককে তাড়িয়ে দিয়েছে। কবে কাকে তাড়িয়ে দেবে তার কোনো ঠিক ঠিকানা নেই।
पूरे भारतवर्ष में इसका सख्त विरोध है, एजिटेशंस हुए हैं, अक्रॉस पार्टी लाइंस इसका विरोध हुआ है और नेचुरली हर स्टेट अपना कानून बनाने के लिए सक्षम है। तो स्टेट लोगों की जो एक्सेप्टेंस ही नहीं जिस चीज को उसको थोपने की जो भूमिका है ये कोई डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री में सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो सकती।
In contrast to the Congress's 5 big promises, the BJP had made 10, including what it calls a corrected NRC. The Assam final NRC was published in 2019. At that time, BJP had rejected it, claiming it has wrongful inclusions. It seems if voted to power, BJP wants to reopen the NRC. With inputs from Monideepa Banerjee in Kolkata, in Guwahati, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
In Patna, opposition MLAs protested in the State Assembly against the Bihar Special Armed Police Bill and alleged that they were manhandled by security personnel who were present. Clashes broke out between protesting MLAs and the police. The injured MLAs were taken to hospital. An additional Sessions Court judge has rejected bail pleas of the 83-year-old Stan Swamy on merits as well as on medical grounds. A special National Investigating Agency court in Mumbai on Monday rejected the bail plea filed by the tribal rights activist arrested in the Elgar Parishad Maoist links case. Stan Swamy was arrested from Ranchi in October 2020 and has been in jail in Navi Mumbai. My colleague Saurabh Gupta joins us now for more on this. Saurabh, as per his lawyer, Stan Swamy is suffering from Parkinson's and has also lost the ability to hear. Is that right?
Absolutely. The human conditions of Stan Swamy, his age, the disease that he suffers from was something that his lawyers were hoping that the court would take into consideration while deciding on his bail plea. But the court seems to have gone with the argument of the NIA and decided against granting bail to him. Now, this is something that civil society has been talking about, but the court has also, dismissed certain other questions that have been raised about his incarceration, including the bit about where, there was a claim that the evidence that was found on Stan Swamy's laptop could have been planted there with the presence of some malware in his hard disk. But all of these arguments seem to have been, set aside by the court. The court believes that Stan Swamy, at least the Special NIA court believes that Stan Swamy should continue to be in jail, something that has obviously left civil society aghast. But we can expect his lawyers.
All right, Saurabh, we'll help you get some water to clear your throat. Thanks very much for sharing those details with us. In Chhattisgarh, at least 5 have been killed after Naxalites targeted a bus carrying 27 DRG or District Reserve Guard troops in Chhattisgarh's Narayanpur district. The entire area has been cordoned off. A search operation is ongoing.